Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, checking up on what's going on with the climate and the earth changes. We see 5 dead and 60 hospitalized in a massive Pennsylvania turnpike crash. This was a big one. 5 people were killed, at least 60 injured. This was early Sunday morning. A tour bus lost control on a hill and rolled over, setting off a chain reaction that involved 3 tractor trailers and a passenger car. The injured victims, ranging from 7 to 67 years old, are all expected to survive, thankfully, although 2 patients remain in critical condition. So, be very careful out there in this weather. And we have a series of strong storms going to dump some heavy rain and snow on the Pacific Northwest. And, it's an active winter season for sure. There's power outages going on as well right now that were caused by the winds knocking down trees. And so taking a look at what you can expect. And right here, you're going to get rain along the coast, but when you get inland a little bit to like Medford, you're going to have heavy, heavy snow going on as we see this extend through British Columbia, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, as well as and then into Montana. And this is your forecast accumulations. Some pretty big numbers to be expected, up to a couple feet in some areas as well. And guys, don't forget Australia. Send your prayers for everybody over there. The wildfires are so hot, they're generating thunder and lightning from the fires. About 150 fires continue to burn across New South Wales, 39 more in neighboring Victoria as well. We've talked about this at length. A lot of people are being rescued. And again, some people, the only rescue is going to be coming from sea, going out to sea and being taken off the beach. So many people are massing on the beach. And this is a huge one. This is, the biggest one in years, perhaps in Australian history. And, of course, we have a lot of questions about everything going on with this. And of course, a lot of us have our own ideas about what is really going on over there. As we see over here, a lot of footage, heartbreaking footage, shows koala and kangaroo carcasses. As they're saying, up to 1 billion animals feared dead. 1 billion would it be? That's just, it's just horrid to contemplate what's going on. And, the animals are so beautiful and so much suffering. And obviously very, very innocent in all this. 24 people killed, 200,000 homes destroyed. Sydney was declared the hottest place on Earth yesterday. Temperatures of 50 Celsius being pretty much reached there. And here again, this is the area that we're looking at that's getting most of the intensity, although they are all over. And on Tasmania as well. Absolutely a horrible scene. And again, we see some more photos here as Australia is calling out more troops as it continues to escalate. And, I've had so many of you that are family members there sharing with us, just how bad it is. And the air situation as well is just horrible. And of course, we're praying for all the firefighters out there that are battling something that seems to be almost insurmountable. So let's pray for rain again as well. As you see here, hottest place on Earth. And they're quoting the old number, 500 million, and we've heard up to 1 billion animals lost. Basically 12 million acres destroyed, 1/3 of the koala population. Look at those fires. That is so, so sad. And the scale of the disaster is enormous. So my question for you, when this is over, do you think a lot of people will leave the area? Do you think that's Well, I'll just leave it at that. Do you think a lot of people will be leaving the area permanently, or you think they'll dig back in and rebuild? And this is out of Live Science with some photos from satellites. And then don't forget about Indonesia. The death toll is up to 60 now, with over 100,000 in shelters. Again, the flood situation there, pretty desperate. And it's just, it's one of these things where the capital is actually, quote unquote, sinking, and sea level is rising. And you're looking at, one of the biggest cities in the world that's going to have to be relocated or rebuilt somewhere else. And we have 660 kilometers or 410 miles of China's Yellow River frozen solid. As we see extremes, there are definitely extremes going on around the globe. So the Chinese military was deployed back in 2014 to drop bombs on the frozen river to free up the ice flow. It's pretty wild. And here we see rare extreme avalanche warning for British Columbia's sea-to-sky region in Canada. This warning is expected to remain in place through Saturday, January 20th, 2020. We very rarely see extreme avalanche danger, but the sea-to-sky region is forecast to be extreme for tomorrow, as we have snows are definitely coming into this area as well. And we have a snowstorm hitting parts of Nagaland for the first time in 37 years in India. Nagaland, and you are familiar with the channel. Again, Nagas are those legendary beings that are almost half serpent and half human. And there are people, there's an ethnic minority over in India that are known as the Nagas. And it's interesting because they say that they came from a land that went under the sea, i.e. Lemuria, and relocated over to this part of India, which is like more towards Bangladesh. It's really pretty interesting in and of itself. Ancient tree rings reveal past mega droughts hitting North and South America simultaneously. So it's pretty interesting to see the disasters that hit us on a fairly regular basis. And, of course, we were talking about that 12,000 year cycle. That seems to be one that hits in a major way. Here, by studying the ancient tree rings, pieces of evidence have been discovered that these tandem droughts are common over the past 1,200 years, and that they are driven by a common cause, which is La Nina. That's that abnormally cool state of the eastern Pacific Ocean. So we're learning a lot more about climate, and we're waiting for Betelgeuse, which translates to Betelgeuse, to possibly explode, or, and in fact, it might have already exploded, since, there's obviously a time gap. And this is usually one of the biggest, brightest red giants that we see. And so it's been doing unusual things, and now scientists are getting ready for this to go pop. And we have a new type of aurora discovered, and my question would be, is it simply because of the changing times, the changing weather patterns, and the grand solar minimum that we're seeing? Or maybe even the stratospheric injections that go on as well, because we get a lot of new phenomena in the past. We've gotten a lot in the past 10 years or so, and when you look, then you see that it wasn't something that we've seen before. The Met Office admits the UK is now cooling, so the 2010s decade was cooler than it was in the decade of the 2000s. So that would be some evidence for the grand solar minimum, perhaps, and the times that we're heading into. Or again, is it the stratospheric injections going on? Mystery behind erupting rocks from asteroid Bennu, and they don't know exactly what it is. It's puzzling the scientists. And, a lot of different things. Is it some sort of chemical reaction going on inside the asteroid? Is it being pelted by micro asteroids? Bottom line is they don't know, and they are perplexed. At least that's what they're telling us. And then this out of strange sounds, microgrid revolution in California. So it's all started with the earthquake that struck the Fukushima region of Japan in 2011. And obviously the resulting tsunami flooded coastal regions of Humboldt County in Northern California. And so, losing power, it's not a bad idea to turn. More and more people are turning to solar. Solar is limited in some ways, but, it can definitely help you. And being two people that are about to go live an RV lifestyle, and we do have solar on it, it's nice. It's a nice thing to have. So, like right now it's been unplugged, and we know we could go on and turn on the power because the solar is going to keep the batteries topped off. And so, people are recognizing this, and, more and more people are opting for solar as a possibility along with generators because, we are going to have some periods when we are not going to have power. The grid will go down. We have so much going on geopolitically as well. And then, of course, if we are coming out of the solar minimum, starting to head into a solar maximum with the magnetosphere down and everything being the situation that it's at, we're very vulnerable. So when we do get some CMEs, it's going to be hold on to your hats time. Here's a jaw-dropping mutant cow, and this guy's got some big big horns there. And it talks about mutant animals around the world, and it gets into this mutant sheep that looks a lot like a human, as we're bogging down here. And so some people thought it was a devil. And, that's where we have to be very careful not to let superstition fly, as we know what happened with the witch hunts. And we know a lot of innocent people died. But yeah, this is definitely a little disturbing looking. And so some thought it was an experiment. Some thought it was half human, half sheep. The officials say it was all sheep, just kind of deformed. And then we have 17 cold weather survival hacks. Now this is more like if the grid goes down, if you're stuck out there in the middle of nowhere. If it's icy out, you could put screws into the soles of your shoes, make sure they don't go through and poke you on the other side. But that could help you with walking on an icy surface. Putting wool inserts into your shoes, simply double socking it is another way to go when it gets super cold. Sleeping with hot water bottles is an option. Sleep with man's best friend. There was a group called 3 Dog Night. That's referring to a very, very cold night, right? Insulate windows with blankets. Insulate windows with bubble wrap. That would work as well. Open curtains when the sun is shining on them. Insulate doors with pipe insulation. Keep your socks dry with plastic bags if you had to. Obviously, dress in layers, and wearing tights under your layers can definitely increase your heat. You could prevent frostbite with Vaseline or baby oil. And then terracotta pot heater is an option. Ever hear of a Crisco candle? You could just simply throw a wick in it and it'll burn for a really long time. I wouldn't cook with it though. Crisco is disgusting. Reflect heat with tin foil. You can make bicycle snow tires as well. And so you could attach zip ties at regular intervals, which would give them a little bit more traction. And you can make up do-it-yourself hand and foot warmers as well. Thank you guys, as always, for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Please do pray for the people of Australia and Indonesia, as both of those countries are suffering. As always, my friends, God bless and namaste.